Hello student, in today's lecture we will going to talk about the menstrual cycle, a very important phenomenon in case of female, especially in case of primate female, that we have to discuss today. Okay, so in this lecture we are going to talk about in detail about the different events and their regulations which is happening during the menstrual cycle. So first of all, let us introduce what is menstrual cycle. So menstrual cycle is defined as reproductive cycle in primate females. Okay, so this is nothing but, you can say, it is reproductive cycle in primate female. Now the question is, what are primate females or what are primates actually? Okay, so when you see the classification of mammals, in mammals there is an order called Primata, which includes human, monkey, apes, lemur and tarsier. Okay, so these different types of organisms present in this group, that is called as order Primata, and the main feature of Primata are, these are eutherian, having nails in their finger, like we are having the nails here. Okay, so in the same way, all those mammals which are eutherian, means placental mammals, are there and having nails in their fingers, are considered in this group. Okay, so that is why they are looking like humans, or we can say the immediate or recent ancestors of humans. Okay, monkey, apes and all. So that is why this group is called as Primata. So in all primates, in all different variety of primates, females are having menstrual cycle. But besides this primate, the remaining animals which is belonging to mammal class are called as non-primates. Those non-primates do not have these kinds of menstrual cycle in females. Okay, they are having another types of cycle which is almost similar, means you can say having the almost similar events to this menstrual cycle, which is called as oestrus cycle in case of non-primate females. Okay, so now in non-primate females we can say they are having oestrus cycle. Okay, but those oestrus cycle have been modified during the terms of evolution, and after modification now it is becoming menstrual cycle in case of primate female. So that is why primates are having menstrual female. Now the question is, why it was happened, why oestrus cycle has been converted or evolved into the menstrual cycle. So the answer is very simple. If we will see the reproductive behavior of all mammals, so all the primates are reproductively active throughout the year, means they can reproduce throughout the year. But when you will see the animals which are belonging to non-primata group are not reproducing throughout the year. They are having particular season of reproduction which is called as breeding season. So breeding seasons are found to be present, like you have seen in dogs, in cat, in cow. So they are having different breeding season. Some of them are having a single breeding season throughout the year, and some are having more than one breeding season throughout the year. Okay, but they are not continuous breeder, they are not continuously breeding, so that is why they are not called as continuous breeder, they are called as seasonal breeder. Okay, but when we are talking about the primates are continuous breeder and they can reproduce throughout the year, means females are reproductively active throughout the year. Okay, so this kind of behavior was responsible to change the oestrus cycle into the menstrual cycle. Okay, so that is very important phenomenon. So menstrual cycle that I have written here, a kind of reproductive cycle which is found in primate female. Okay, now in another term, if we are defining this menstrual cycle, in another term we can say these are the cyclic or sequential changes, in ovary and uterus of females. Okay, these are cyclic changes, means some kind of cyclic events or sequential events are happening in ovary, which are repeating every time they are going on repetition. The same thing is happening with the uterus also. Some kind of important changes are happening into the uterus, which are also keep going on changing, okay, in a cyclic manner. So these changes are considered under the menstrual cycle, okay. Now what are the important property of menstrual cycle which differentiating menstrual cycle from the oestrus cycle? So the major and most important difference that you will get in case of menstrual cycle and which is absent in case of oestrus cycle is actually the bleeding, which is called as menstrual or menstruation, or you can say menses, is happening in, okay. So the most important distinctive feature of menstrual cycle is actually the bleeding period, which is called as menses or menstruation in case of menstrual cycle, hence the name is given menstrual cycle, okay. Now let us talk about that what different stages are present in menstrual cycle, means in how many stages we can categorize this menstrual cycle, okay. See, in case of human beings, the menstrual cycle is generally considered as of 28 days, or sometimes it is written as 28 or 29 days, okay, but the main average is actually 28 days, okay. Now the menstrual cycle, which is of 28 days, means almost 1 month, can be divided into 4 different stages or phases. The first one is menses, then menses or menstrual period you can say, then pre-ovulatory phase, and after this ovulatory phase and post-ovulatory phase. Means in menstrual cycle the most important event is what? Ovulation, that is release of egg from the ovary, okay. Now since ovulation is happening, and this is the main purpose of this menstrual cycle, so that egg can be released and it can be fertilized and it will leads to the pregnancy and development of a new organism, okay. So this is most important phenomenon. Therefore according to this period, whatever changes are happening initially are called as pre-ovulatory phase, are considered in pre-ovulatory phase, and after ovulation the changes are happening are considered into the post-ovulatory phase, okay. And the time period of bleeding is considered under the menses or menstrual period, you can say menses or menstrual period, which is actually the starting of menstrual cycle. Means the first day when bleeding is happening, that is considered to be as the first day of menstrual cycle. So that is why the menses period generally stays up to the 3 to 5 days, okay. Means from the first day it may happens up to the 3rd day, or it may stay up to the 5th day. So that is why it is generally from 3 to 5 days time period, okay. After that pre-ovulatory phase is going to be started, and this pre-ovulatory phase is for 6 to 30th day of menstrual cycle. Means up to 5th day we are considering the menstrual time. Therefore from the 6th day onwards, means 6 to 30th day is considered under the pre-ovulatory phase. Now ovulation is generally happening in the mid period of menstrual cycle. So mid period means it is of 28 days, we can divide into just half time, and that half time obviously will be on 14th day. So the standard time on 14th day of menstrual cycle, ovulation happening. This is the standard time, okay. Keep in your mind, this is standard time. It may vary from female to female according to different factors, okay. Now after this, from the 15th to 28 days, it is considered to be post ovulatory phase. Okay, now different types of changes are happening here according to the hormones which are controlling this menstrual cycle. So we have to see all the things in detail, but before that some important points are there that we have to discuss. That in a female, if we are looking toward the female life, in a female, menstrual cycle is started in puberty age, means in the age of 11 or 12 years it is going to be started. So that is why the first menstrual cycle at puberty age is called menarche. Okay, that is called as menarche. The first menstrual cycle which happens in a female life is called as menarche, and that happens in puberty age, that is in the age of 11 or 12 years. That is, you can say, the age of sexual maturity. Okay, and it is generally going to be stopped permanently in age of 45 to 50 year of female, and this permanent stoppage of this menstrual cycle is called as menopause. Okay, which is called as menopause. So menopause is happening in the age around 45 to 50 year of a female life. Okay, now so the first one is called as menarche, and last, when it is going to permanently stop, is called as, that condition is called as menopause stage. But sometimes before this age, menstrual cycle is going to be stopped or suspended due to different reasons. Like if female is pregnant, then it is going to be stopped. If intense lactation, means after the baby birth, female is producing milk for the feeding of young one. Okay, so when intense lactation, means very much milk is going to be synthesized and released from the mother's body, then in that period, due to high level of prolactin hormone, the prolactin hormone is the hormone which is responsible for the milk synthesis. Okay, so due to high level of prolactin, this menstrual cycle is going to be stopped during the intense lactation period. And if female is not pregnant and not having any baby, in that case, if it is going to be stopped, then it could be because of lack of blood or iron, you can say, because if iron deficiency is going on in the body of female, it will leads to the definitely deficiency of blood. Okay, so the blood deficiency can cause temporary stoppage or suspension of this menstrual cycle. Or maybe if female is completely healthy, but sometimes without any pregnancy, without any baby, the prolactin level is suddenly increased, so that will also cause temporary suspension or stoppage of this menstrual cycle. Okay, so all these things can be treated by the doctor very easily. Okay, now we have to consider all these phases according to the changes and their hormones which are responsible for these changes. So let us see. Now see, if we are talking about the different events which are happening during the menstrual cycle in a female, so we can divide all the events into following way. First of all, ovarian changes, means all the events or changes which are happening in the ovary, or you can say ovarian cycle, that all the events are represented here. Then these changes are controlled by, okay, keep in your mind, all the ovarian changes are controlled by the help of pituitary hormone. Some hormones are released from anterior pituitary, and these hormones are follicle stimulating hormone, that is FSH, and LH, luteinizing hormone, and these two hormones together known as gonadotropins. Okay, so FSH and LH, these hormones are principally responsible for regulation of events in the ovary. Okay, now when changes are happening in the ovary, some hormones are also going to be released or secreted by the ovary, which are called as ovarian hormone, and these are principally estrogen and progesterone. So estrogen and progesterone, these two hormones are also there, and these two hormones are basically responsible to control the body temperature of the female as well as some changes which are happening in the endometrium of uterus, or you can say the uterus wall. Okay, so I have drawn here the endometrium. Now we have to correlate all these changes, and now we according to that correlation we have to understand how this menstrual cycle is operating and how different events are happening. Okay, so I have written here the days. You can see I have written here the days from 1st to 28 days, and I have divided these days into two critical time periods, one from 1st to 5th day. You can see here from 1st to 5th day, and then from 5th to 14th day, that where in the mid period where the ovulation is happening, and then from here rest of the time period. Okay, so in this way, in 3 phases I have divided this whole time period. Now I have told you that the initial from 1st to 5th day, okay, from initial 1st to 5th day there is menses, means the endometrium of uterus is going to be degenerated. Okay, and due to this degeneration bleeding is happening, and that bleeding is called as menstrual flow. Okay, so menstrual flow is happening due to damage, or you can say disintegration of endometrial wall. Okay, now during this time period the change which is happening, or event which is happening into the uterus, that is menses, is going on. In the same time period actually what is happening in ovary, so you will see in ovary there is a development of follicles. From primordial follicle we are getting the primary follicle, primary and then secondary. Okay, so from primordial follicle there is a successive development of primary and secondary follicle are going on. Okay, and after this 5 days, now the new events are going to be started. What new events are going to be started? See, after the 5th day the level of SHS is gradually going to be increased. You can see the level of FSH is gradually going to be increased, the blue line you can see. Okay, so now since FSH level is going to be increased, and FSH is responsible for the development of ovarian follicle. Okay, now it will speed up the development of ovarian follicle, and the primary follicle are going to be developed into secondary and tertiary, and finally the Graafian follicle is developed. Okay, now the Graafian follicle has been developed due to increased concentration of FSH, and there is a sudden increase in FSH level, which will induce actually the increased secretion of LH. So that is why, due to increased high peak of FSH will responsible for the high peak of LH, and this high peak of LH or luteinizing hormone is called as LH surge. Okay, and because of this LH surge, that is highest concentration or peak value, the Graafian follicle is going to be ruptured, and due to this ruptured the secondary oocyte or egg is coming out, which is called as ovulation. So on 15th day, that is mid period of the cycle, this ovulation is happening, and remaining ruptured follicular cells are here, which are going to be mixed together, and after mixing they are making a new structure called as carpus luteum. So this structure is called carpus luteum. Why it is called as carpus luteum? Carpus means body and luteum means yellow. So it is yellow body or yellow spot, commonly called as. Okay, and this is yellow due to presence of lutein pigment. Okay, now this carpus luteum is actually a kind of endocrine structure, and it will start also releasing different types of hormone. So the main 4 hormones which are released by the carpus luteum are progesterone, little amount of estrogen, inhibin, as well as a small amount of relaxin hormone. So these 4 hormones are released by carpus luteum. Okay, now this carpus luteum has been formed, and because of this, okay, the progesterone level is going to be high because it is releasing the progesterone, and this carpus luteum is having lifetime approximately 10 to 12 days, means you can say 2 weeks. Okay, so 10 to 12 weeks it is having the lifetime, and after that, if fertilization is not happening, means after ovulation the egg has been released here, and if this egg has not been fertilized by the sperm, in that case after 2 weeks this carpus luteum is going to be destroyed or disintegrated, and the first symptom of destruction is it going to be shrink little bit and its color is going to be changed and it becomes white in color, which is called as carpus albicans. Okay, so carpus albicans is going to be formed. So in this way the ovarian changes are happening. Now according to the ovarian changes we can give some term to these changes, like from here means from the first day when primordial follicle are going to be developed into primary, secondary, and then after that secondary follicle is developing into the tertiary, and finally Graafian follicle or mature follicle is going to be formed. So this all event are actually, if we are observing, then we are finding that only the follicular developments are happening. Okay, so that is why this all events from here to here is actually called as follicular phase. Follicular. Okay, I am erasing little bit because space is not here, and I am writing Graafian follicle in a small symbol, or in Graafian follicle this is. So I have told you that all events during Graafian follicle development from first day to here are called as follicular phase. Okay, so this event up to here is called as follicular phase, because in ovary the follicular development is going on. Okay, now after the ovulation, what is happening here? After the ovulation we are getting that this carpus luteum is going to be formed and it is surviving at last of the menstrual cycle. Okay, so that is why carpus luteum has been formed and now it is the main regulatory body of this time period. Hence this phase is called as luteal phase. This phase is called luteal phase. So in this way, according to the ovarian changes, we are getting 3 events. One is follicular phase, then ovulation is happening, and then after ovulation there is a luteal phase is going on, which results into the formation of carpus luteum and its functioning. Okay, so these are the ovarian changes that we are getting, and this is repeating every time whenever the cycle is going to be repeated. Okay, now so all these events I have told you are going to be controlled by pituitary hormone. When level of FSH or follicle stimulating hormone is going to be increased, follicular phase is going to be operated, means the follicular development are happening, and once the level of LH is going to be increased suddenly, that sharp increase in LH concentration in female blood result in ovulation, and that ovulation is resulted in formation of carpus luteum. That is why this hormone is called as luteinizing hormone or LH. Okay, now when follicles are going to be developed, so we are knowing that these follicles are also releasing some kind of hormones. So what hormones they are releasing? They are releasing estrogen. Okay, the main hormone which are released from the follicle are actually estrogen. So what is happening here? See, as follicular development is going on, the level of estrogen is also going to be increased gradually, and when Graafian follicle is going to be formed, so Graafian follicle will release more amount of estrogen. That is why there is a estrogen peak we are getting here, means highest concentration of estrogen we can observe just before the ovulation. Okay, now this highest concentration is here, and when the follicle is going to be ruptured, the source of estrogen is not diminished. That is why the level of this estrogen is going on decrease. Okay, but at this time the progesterone is almost constant, but as soon as after ovulation the carpus luteum is going to be formed, and we are knowing that main hormone which is releasing by the carpus luteum is progesterone. That is why when carpus luteum is going to be formed, the level of progesterone is suddenly going to be increased. And I have also told you a small amount of estrogen is also being released. That is why the estrogen level which is going to be decreased here is also going to be suddenly a small increment it is showing. Okay, so means suddenly it is also going to be increased up to certain extent. but not very much. Okay, so estrogen is also going to be increased, and more increase, there is increase is found in case of progesterone hormone. Okay, so in this way, due to changes in ovary, we are getting change in the concentration of estrogen and progesterone. I am repeating once again. See what is happening. When follicle is going on to develop, estrogen level is going to be increased. When follicle is going to be ruptured, now source of estrogen is destroyed, so that is why it is coming down. And when corpus luteum is formed, now progesterone level is going on increasing, and since corpus luteum is also releasing a small amount of estrogen, so slight increase in estrogen can be noticed. Okay, now this progesterone is responsible for increase in body temperature in female. Okay, keep in your mind this point is very, very important, that progesterone is also called as pregnancy hormone as well as thermogenic hormone. Thermogenic hormone means it is responsible to increase the body temperature. Okay, so that is why there is a slight increase in body temperature has been noticed in a female body when this thing is going on. You can see here I have made a graph for body temperature, that is 37 degrees centigrade. You can see the 37 degrees centigrade, which is constant body temperature. Now this temperature is constant here, here, here and here, but when progesterone is going to be increased, this body temperature is suddenly increased at the time of ovulation. Okay, and then it is coming down little bit, and as soon as the progesterone level is going on increasing more and more, so again body temperature is little bit increased, and it keep on in the same condition up to the end of the cycle, and when cycle is going to be end, again it is coming to the normal level. Okay, so body temperature fluctuation is also going on. That is why this is very, very important, that most of the doctor used to presume the date of ovulation in a female by just measuring the body temperature. Means just by measuring the body temperature, the fluctuations, that we can know that at this particular time fluctuation period, here you can see little bit increase, and then after 1 or 2 days it is little bit decrease, and then again it is increasing. Okay, so this small fluctuation is representing what period? It is representing actually ovulation time period. Okay, so that is why by regular measuring of body temperature of a female, a doctor can judge that when the ovulation is going on. Okay, now because of this, when estrogen is going on and progesterone is going on to be increased in female body, they are affecting the uterus lining into the female. Okay, so when estrogen and progesterone at lowest level, the endometrium is going to be disintegrated, because when progesterone and estrogen is going to be down, it is responsible for the shrinkage of blood vessels, and this shrinkage of blood vessel in endometrium is actually causing the oxygen deficiency, and because of this deficiency the endometrial lining is going to be shrink, and then it is going to be deteriorated or disintegrated, and it causes bleeding. Okay, and then all the things are coming out from the female vagina. Okay, so that is menses period. But when the estrogen level is going on increase, you can see when estrogen level is going to be increased, it is responsible for again dividation and repair of endometrium. So again endometrium lining is going to be developed gradually. Okay, so that is why endometrium is going to be developed and repaired. So this time period is called as proliferative phase. Okay, so proliferative phase is actually what? It is the time period when endometrium is dividing and making new wall, which is called as stratum functionalis. So in my one of the lecture, when I have told about this complete detail of female reproductive system, in that lecture I have told you that the endometrium is actually consisting of two layers: the basic layer, which is called as stratum basalis, and the functional layer, which is called as stratum functionalis. So stratum functionalis is going on to be regular changes during this menstrual cycle, but stratum basalis is constant. So stratum basalis is here, you can consider, and when estrogen level is increasing, it is going to be proliferated, and after proliferation it will again form, or you can say reform, the layer stratum functionalis. Okay, and once this layer is repaired, now increased concentration of progesterone will also affect this layer. Due to this increased concentration of progesterone, the endometrial cells going to be more and more thickened. You can see now after this I have made little bit more large layers. Okay, and the cells are also, or layer you can say, are also very thick. You can see now. So progesterone is actually responsible for the thickening of this endometrial layer, as well as another change you can see here. The blood vessels are not very much developed, but as soon as progesterone is going to be increased, it is also responsible for the development of more and more blood vessels. Okay, so more and more blood vessels are going to be developed. Endometrium, which has been repaired here by estrogen, is going to be thickened more by the help of increased level of progesterone, and that is why now this endometrium is ready for implantation if fertilization of this ovum has happened during the menstrual cycle. Okay, so if fertilization is not happening, then again the same cycle is going to be repeated, and if fertilization has happened, then embryo will implant here, and this endometrium will support up to the 9 month of the not only 9 month after the baby birth, still endometrium is remaining as such, because menstrual cycle is going to be stopped there. Okay, so it is now ready for implantation. And one more thing is there, during this proliferation some uterine glands are also formed, which are now functional here after progesterone when progesterone level is increased. So endometrial glands are now functional. They will release their product, and that product is called as uterine milk. That product is called as uterine milk, which is glycogen rich solution. Remember this point, that uterine milk is glycogen rich solution, and this glycogen rich solution is secreted here. So that is why after proliferative phase, this time period is called as secretory phase. Secretory phase. Okay, so secretory phase is here. Now some new terms I have introduced here, so I am repeating once again. When follicular development is happening, that is called as follicular phase in ovary. Then ovulation is happening, and when carpus luteum is developing, it is called as luteal phase. And when endometrium is going to be repaired, this event is called proliferative phase. And when it becomes secretory and thickened and ready for implantation, then this phase is called as secretory phase. So in this way, the changes are happening and controlled by these 4 hormones, which are basically released from pituitary and ovarian. Okay, so in this way the cycle is going on and repeating every time. Okay, so this is all about the menstrual cycle.